Hi, Jocelyn. How's it going?
Hi, Anisha. Terrible. I just remembered we have a chemistry test today. I'm doomed.
Maybe I can help. What seems to be confusing?
I just don't understand how atoms know whether to form covalent bonds or ionic bonds. I remember it had something to do with valence shells or valence electrons, something like that, but I don't even remember what those are.
No problem. I can explain it to you. Remember how each atom contains a certain number of protons, neutrons, and electrons.
Yeah, but how do you know how much of each one an atom has?
Atoms generally have an equal number of protons and neutrons. The atomic number tells you how many protons there are in the nucleus.
What about the electrons?
The electrons are a bit more tricky. The neutral form of an atom, meaning it's neither negatively or positively charged, has the same number of electrons as protons. However, sometimes an atom will give an electron away, making themselves positively charged. The atom that receives their electron will become negatively charged. These charged atoms are called ions. Since opposites attract, the two oppositely charged ions will form an ionic bond.
How do you know which atom will give up an electron and which one will receive one?
That depends on their number of valence electrons, which are the electrons in the outermost shell of the atom. Depending on where the element is located on the periodic table, it will have a certain number of valence electrons. The periodic table is arranged in rows, called periods, and columns, called groups or families. Elements in the same row of the periodic table have the same number of electron shells. Elements in the same column of the periodic table have the same number of valence electrons. The number of valence electrons that an atom wants to have in order to be stable is determined by the octet rule, which states that atoms tend to be most stable when they have 8 valence electrons. This can be achieved by gaining, losing, or sharing electrons with other atoms in order to complete their valence shell.
Oh, I think I'm starting to get it. So in the case of sodium chloride or salt, the sodium molecule has only one valence electron, whereas chlorine has 7. Since both of them want to have 8 valence electrons, sodium gives away 1 electron and chlorine happily receives it.
Exactly. And now that sodium has one more positively charged proton than negatively charged electrons, sodium has a positive charge.
How is a covalent bond different from an ionic bond?
In a covalent bond, neither atom gives up or receives another's electrons. Instead, they both share it. For example, oxygen has 6 valence electrons. Hydrogen has only 1 electron, so it wants one more.
Wait, I thought it was the octet rule, meaning 8 electrons.
Hydrogen is an exception. It wants to be stable with 2 valence electrons, just like the noble gas helium. Since oxygen needs 2 electrons to make 8, and the hydrogen can only share 1, oxygen binds with 2 hydrogen molecules. This forms water.
I think I get it now. Thank you, Anisha.
My pleasure, Jocelyn. Good luck on the test.